Hey everyone, thank you for pushing that play button. Welcome back to an episode of C Gonna Speed 252. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do. Remember, this Friday I plan to be at VIR, which is Virginia International Raceway, between 8:30 and 4 p.m. Right now they're saying the weather will be high of 59 degrees, which is going to be great to be on the track. Let me say that I do believe in GM products, as I do own GM products as we speak. So I had some followers reach out to me and ask me, do I think with GM laying off some people, will that postpone anything with the C8 Managed and Corvette? And what do you think of the future of GM? That's a good question. Let's hop into that video. So for starters, I want to go ahead and say this. I just recently found out about these layoffs just yesterday, and literally through you all. I did not see anything on the news, anything on the internet, and I didn't go researching for it until today. But I heard about this information yesterday through some followers of mine that GM is currently going to lay off some employees, and I've seen a couple of tweets here and there regarding this matter. So I want to make a quick video just about this idea because I want to get people's opinion, you all opinion, because I know some of you own some Ford products, GM products, Dodge products, and I want your all opinion of what you think of the car industry as a whole, what you think of GM as a whole, and do you also think that this will push back the C8 Managed and Corvette? So without further ado, let me give you some information on some things that I came across, some things that I found that I would like to share with you today. Now, I will say this, based off the things I read so far, this will kind of affect future Corvettes and possibly the C8. But I want to hop into something that I found that seemed really interesting until now. So I'll probably say about 3-4 years ago, GM invested $296 million in a powertrain facility in upstate New York for a new engine line that is expected to come out online at the end of 2018. Now, according to the manager at this plant, he said the engine line will be a new version of the Generation V. At this plant in upstate New York, this plant includes family engines of LT1 460 horsepower, which is currently found in the C7 Corvettes and Stingrays and Grand Sports, as well as the V8s in many of the GM full-size trucks, SUVs, including Silverados, Yukons, Suburbans, and Escalades. Now, with this new plant in upstate New York, the investment is one of the 3 projects announced by General Motors. They were actually investing $333 million in this plant. It will receive $295 million, and then that will create 67 new jobs while retaining 857. The other 2 plants, which are located in Lockport and Rochester, will receive $31 million and $5.9 million for component production. This article goes on to say that GM is going to spend that much money they could pick up this plant and place it anywhere. But instead, they decided to place this plant in Buffalo, where they are thinking that in New York they will thrive and their investment will be worth the money because they believe in Buffalo's future. They believe in the partnership they have with the state of New York. Once again, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do. We would love to have you. But, you know, layoffs are just not good at all. Layoffs is not good for anyone in general, and this sucks. It truly does suck. I mean, GM says in the article that they're not laying off a lot of people, they're laying off some people. And everything that I'm reading you is coming from this article. And it pretty much says the reason why these layoffs are happening is because of slow down in new car sales. Slow down in new car sales. So I'm starting to think that maybe these car factories, and I could be wrong, and give me an opinion about this, produce way too many cars than they should have. And then so it states here that that this slowdown in new car sales has automakers to slim their operation and pretty much get rid of jobs. This article goes on to say that some of the smaller cars that Chevrolet built, like the Chevrolet Cruze, shouldn't have been built. And most people, instead of buying these Chevrolet Cruzes, with the way gas prices are, they found it more reasonable to pick up on pretty much buying pickup trucks and sport utility vehicles for their family because they also get great gas mileage as well. So with these layoffs, it's definitely going to hurt a lot of people in North America. It's definitely saying, it's hurting people in Canada right now because Canada, like, they're in an uproar. They said once people heard yesterday, literally, that they was planning to lay off people in Canada, people just walked out of the factories. Like, they just packed their bags, walked out, and they just pretty much stormed and started, waving that flag, pretty much representing Canada. And they also said they built like barriers to prevent, other things from happening and blah, blah, blah. So, it's starting to really get bad. And I don't know how bad it's going to get before it gets any better due to, them laying off people. And at this moment in time, they haven't laid off anybody yet, but they say they're planning to. So if people are already getting upset saying, well, possible layoffs, and people hasn't been laid off yet, what's that going to happen when they start laying people off? So after reading this article, it makes you feel really good about General Motors. It makes you feel good about the direction they're going in. This article was published back in 2016. As it stated, it was opening up jobs for other people. It was investing money back in the U.S. It was investing money in Buffalo, New York, and opening up plants for the engine that was placed in cars that we drive till today. Now we fast forward to 2018, and now all you're hearing is reading about General Motors laying people off. So now I'm going to read some information from an article that I was found today that was actually published just yesterday from General Motors, pretty much saying, well, I can't say this was technically from General Motors, but it was published about General Motors. And it said General Motors announced Monday that they plan to close down 5 factories in North America and cut roughly 4,000 jobs in the bid to trim down costs. It was a reflection of the auto industry adjustment and change in consumer taste and sluggish sales. Now, here's a question for you all. This could be related to what I'm about to talk about regarding laying people off, or it could be just off topic. But this is a question I want y'all to answer. Give me an input on. So now you're hearing Chevrolet, well, General Motors, and then you also heard Ford, saying they're going to stop making certain number of cars. Do you think they spread themselves too thin by producing so many cars that people normally don't buy? Do you think them over making these cars or over producing these cars could be the reason why they feel like the auto industry is going bad? Or what do you think regarding that? Now, just to throw this out there, you all know I'm a huge Corvette fan, as I do own a C7. I think the C7 is a beautiful Corvette. I think the C7 is a beautiful body style. But I also read an article that said this, that GM actually overproduced the C7 Corvette. What do you think about that? So like I said earlier, whether you're a GM person, whether you're a Ford person or a Dodge person, this article also says that those brands, those companies are also having some job reductions and laying people off as well. They're going to stop making some cars in the future. Just to give you some of a personal story, this kind of reminds me of when General Motors actually stopped making Pontiac. Now, I don't know too much details about why they stopped making Pontiac, whether it was a economy thing or whether they felt like that car sold enough. But I currently own a 2005 Pontiac G6 that I bought back in 2009, actually. In 2005, I bought it with 84,000 miles on it. And a lot of people didn't really like that car. I don't know how well they performed during that time, what the case may be. But I paid cash for it because I stayed up for it for so long. And like I said, I bought it with 84,000 miles on. Do you know till this day I have now on that car 274,000 miles on that Pontiac? I'm not kidding you. I have 274,000 miles on my Pontiac G6 that I truly love and take care of, actually. So, I mean, this goes to show that some cars can be made great. If you take care of your car, regardless of what kind of car it is, it can last you for a very long time. But some people say, the Pontiac brand was a crappy brand in general. So I just want to throw that as a personal story of mine. And once again, I'm reading most of this from this article. This is the article that I literally found, and some of this is actually from what followers have sent me through email that I'm reading off to you as well. This article goes on to say that people aren't happy with these layoffs because General Motors was just recently bailed out by the government. And it was like, you're planning to take our jobs that was pretty much in the U.S. to keep the jobs over in Mexico, but you're willing to cut our jobs over here. So a lot of people just isn't happy about this. But this article also says that earlier this year, Ford said they will stop making sedans for North America, and they announced that these cuts will happen sometime this year in the workforce. They also said Fiat and Chrysler stopped making small and mid-sized cars as well back in 2016 for this reason as well. They said the main reason why all this is happening is because the demand for small and mid-sized cars has just plunged. Nobody has interest in these vehicles anymore. When you buy a truck, you can pretty much do whatever you want with that truck. You can haul stuff, you can tow stuff, you can have your family in your truck. You have more space to do more things with the vehicles these days. You get better gas mileage, so people decided not to buy smaller vehicles anymore. Here's a few questions for some of y'all that's part of the channel and some of y'all that's new to the channel. Do you think these layoffs gonna be a big deal for the economy? Here's another question for you. Do you think, these companies like General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler should get rid of these smaller vehicles like, Chevy Cruises and things like that? Because you don't really hear, Toyota having any issues with their, their Priuses and things like that. I haven't at once in this article heard anything about Toyota whatsoever. Now, this was the main concern of this whole entire video that people came to me and asked me about, which was the C8. General Motors is right now on the front page about laying people off. And people ask me, do you think this will delay the process of the C8? And in my personal opinion, I can't even tell you that. I have no idea whatsoever. I know people, come to ask me questions about the C8 because I had the opportunity to put down a deposit, but I can't literally tell you anything outside of that regarding the C8. I don't know if that's going to stop it from coming out at some point. I don't know if that's going to prolong the reveal of this car. I don't know if that means the prices on this car is going to increase. I don't know if they're going to, whatever they're going to do, they're going to do it regardless. I mean, at the end of the day, we live and we learn whatever we decide to do with our lives. And, GM is deciding to now, take the front engine out of this car and put it in the rear now. So, they're taking a big chance of making a bunch of decisions that I can't tell you personally what's going to happen with this vehicle. Let me tell you this. I hope that they don't lay off anyone. I think that they should probably figure this out. I hope they can figure this out to where they don't have to lay off anybody. And I hope that the C8 does come out, because this car has been in the making for 6 decades now. And I'm just like everybody else. I'm wanting to see it so badly. Once again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. My name is Clarence. I look forward to having you join us on this journey. And I'll catch you in another episode of Seek on the Speed 252.